Alright, so once I have the outline of all the peppers drawn, the next step is going to be starting off with the shading. So for that, I'm going to make my pencil brush here bigger. I'm going to reduce the flow because I don't want to go way too dark with it. I can always add layers of darkness to kind of get that value. And so where it's probably even too much. So I want to make these look rounded like what they really are. So in order to do so, pay attention to where the highlights and the shadows are within your design here, so that you can make sure that a rounded object is going to be wherever the light source is. So in this picture, the light source is kind of coming from directly up and in front. So my main shadow areas are towards the rounded sides here of each of the object. To do to get those in is what's going to really make this look like it's 3D and as realistic as possible. So again, for this right now, I have the flow set to only probably 39. I have the brush set as large as it'll go. And I want that shading to kind of be as smooth as possible. I don't want there to be like very noticeable streaks of shading here, because that won't make it look quite as realistic. I can adjust the flow if I need to, if I don't want to go too dark with my shading. Or I can go darker if I do want to go darker with my shading. If I'm shading an area that's a little bit smaller, then it might be more beneficial to make this a little bit smaller as well, the size of it. So pretty much everything I've done so far is mostly concentrating on getting those darks in there, but the light parts are just as important as what's dark. So in order to kind of incorporate those a little bit more, if I tap on my brush, which in this case is the pencil, it brings me back to this menu. So it's actually going to be two of these that you use. This one that is the pencil, and this one down at the bottom, which is your eraser. So if I double tap on that, then just like with the pencil, I have the option for size and flow in order to erase. So with this, if I want to get my lights in here, I'm going to do it using the eraser. So very low. So you want to make sure that you go kind of easy with the eraser, because it is pretty easy to overdo it. And in fact, in some of these places, even once I erase it, I might want to go back in and add just a little bit more shading to that area. So you can even go, with this one you can go huge with it. Or you can go really small if you want to get those kind of really noticeable, like the light glares on some of those parts. And so, like I said, as I mentioned before, with the eraser, sometimes it's kind of easy to overdo it. So in this case, there's going to be a lot of kind of going back and forth between the eraser and the pencil, just to kind of even some things up. And on the pencil, what I want to try to do is at least go over it enough to where the original shading I did for the background is not quite as noticeable anymore on the peppers. So So I'll continue shading and filling it in, trying to match the values as close as I can to what's in the original picture. So I'm not going to go ahead and do the whole thing for this demo, but hopefully that should give you a good enough starting point to get going on this. So let's see what you can do and draw some good peppers.